trying an experiment, so just bear with me, folks. Unexpected live broadcast of the Rise Crypto Show. Okay, looks like I am live. Just bear with me a second here and I'll get everything situated. Get on the screen here in a moment. I do thank you for joining me for this unannounced live broadcast of the Rise Crypto Show. Get my remote control thing going on here and I should be right here. So thank you for joining me for an unexpected live broadcast of the Rise Crypto Show. Let me try something here real quick, because this is an experiment if I can make this work. So I did an interview earlier with Richard Hart, and I recorded the interview, but there was some issues with the file. We also went live on his channel. So what I decided to do with this video, with this live stream, was do a replay of that live video. So I'm going to try to do a quick little video here. Hold on one second. So just had to give a quick shout out to my sponsors, HODL Brand, Cyber, and Monarch Wallet. So, like I said, what I'm doing is trying to do a live stream of a replay of the live interview that I did with Richard Hart on his channel. So, this is your first time ever checking out any of my content, I encourage you to check out my YouTube channel here. If you like what I'm doing, you can support me by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing, all that good stuff. So here is the interview that I did with Richard Hart on his channel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start play here in a minute, go full screen, turn my microphone off, and I'll be in the chat with other people that might be watching this live as well. So I may come on at the end of the video, but it's pretty long. As you can see here, it's an hour and 32 minutes. But it's an awesome interview discussion that I did with Richard Hart, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing over to straight screen share. I should be off at this point. Again, this is all like an experimentation. I'm going to press play. I'm going to go full screen. I want to go on YouTube itself and try to make sure I can.
I think we're live, by the way.
Cool.
So chat, I'm going to
screen.
wait till you guys say electric plug.
And I'm going to turn my microphone off. Enjoy.
So when I see the word electric plug in chat, then I'll start talking smart people stuff.
In the meantime, man, I just want to say I appreciate everybody for joining this live stream. I appreciate Richard Hart. Appreciate it for your time today. My name's Chris Rice Crypto. This is actually going to be a joint recorded effort, so you're going to see this on the Rice Crypto Show as well. You can check me out on my YouTube channel at Rice Crypto. Today, I am joined obviously by Richard Hart, and we're going to be doing a little bit of talking about HEX and a little bit of other things as well.
We are
got
live,
confirmation
so
of everything?
chat about whatever you like.
Cool.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good to go. Okay, man. I really appreciate your time, man.
I'm gonna put you in charge of the whole interview and stream. I don't have any talking points or anything, so you ask questions, I answer them. Easy
Yeah,
stuff.
I wanted to free flow it. Because you're a wealth of information, man. You've been in this space for a long time. For some people who probably don't really have a little bit of a background about like who you are, do you
Hmm.
mind kind of giving a little
Sure.
bit in your words of who
Yeah.
Richard Hart is?
Yep. I'm a retired serial entrepreneur. I started my first business out of my front yard, maybe year 2000. I think I was, 18, 19, something like that. I was doing car stereo stuff. I had a friend that started his own business even younger than I, and he was building computers. He built the shopping cart software. I helped him sell that. And then he had a client that was doing good mortgages. So I started doing search engine optimization and lead generation. And then did pretty well at that. Was able to rank, multiple, 1 to 5 properties in keywords that are $12 to $17 a click. And it's a lot of money, right? If you can rank
Oh yeah.
on expensive keywords, it's just a lot of free money basically until it stops, right? Because the Google bot comes and knocks you down, right? So then started a mortgage company, got up to 150 employees, had a miracle cleaner business, sex toy shop, cash advance loans, foreclosure bailouts, anything that we could, sell on the internet, kind of messed with our traffic generation. And then I retired, traveled the world for 5 years, been everywhere, done everything, and mined crypto in 2011, early 2011, full 50 block reward blocks, 50
Is that when
BTC
you
block rewards.
that's when you first got involved? Was 2011?
Yeah, I mean, I had seen it on Reddit since I was retired for so long. I'd read Reddit a lot. And back then, Reddit was a little more technical than it is now because I have to choose like what the default Reddits are that would be on the homepage. And back then, like I think our atheism was like one of the defaults on the front page. I'm pretty sure it's not now, right? Like
Right.
social communities evolve over time, kind of towards the lowest common denominator. So then new ones start. So you just always end up with a new, like Facebook right now is dying because no one wants to be on the same platform their parents are on. So they just, keep rotating. It's
Yeah.
hard to beat Facebook because they keep buying all the competitors. Like they bought WhatsApp, they bought Instagram.
Yeah, they're definitely playing a smart game when it comes to that. And there's not really any other good alternatives right now. And I am searching for them. And I try to promote the decentralized social media platforms. It's just the only problem right now with those platforms is you're kind of like being in an echo chamber, just kind
Right.
of talking to the same people. And I'm sure yourself, you're trying to reach new people as well. I mean, education is key to get people in mass adoption.
Maybe. Well, probably not. I mean, most things that are mass adopted, no one knows shit about them. They just meet a small use case, right? So, PayPal has millions of users. No one understands ACH wire transfers or chargebacks or any of the stuff that's under the hood, right? Because they don't
Right.
have to. They just care that it solves a problem for them. So I think a lot of I think a lot of crypto education talks about shit people do not care about at all. And it's fun for us, maybe because we're technical or stuff like that. Like imagine going to a forum of people that like raved about the dollar, like the dollar lovers forum. And that's what
Yeah,
Bitcoin is,
yeah,
right? It's like,
yeah. No, I can
oh my
see it from
God, I love this stuff that, there's no equivalent in fiat, right? Of people that just have a hard on for how the dollar works. Like it's not a thing. Everyone in crypto kind of has that extra enthusiasm because they want to get rich, right? And if people thought that talking shit about the dollar would make them get richer, they'd do it.
Well, what about the people? I mean, like myself, I'm getting monetary wealth would be kind of like the icing on the cake in this for me. But promoting cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, the systems that they can change, the creative destruction that they can bring, the breaking us away from centralized fiat money. Those are the things that I really try to promote cryptocurrencies for. That's the reason why I'm excited about it personally. But I
Right.
can see your perspective about going to. I wouldn't definitely want to go to a convention with a bunch of dollar bill lovers talking about
I
the
think
dollar.
I think
So
I think what happens is like you get jaded when you see it's the difference. So there's this effect that has a fancy name. It's got 2 words to it, 2 names and then effect. And anyway, this effect means that if you're a specialist in any industry and understand what's going on and you see a news article about it, you'll notice they got almost everything wrong. And you would realize that that's the case with every article across every industry, but you're not a specialist in those other industries, right?
Right.
So I can't remember the name of the effect. Maybe chat will say it. So the issue is that when you've been in this system as long as I have, you tend to just not care about everything that other people care about because you know that's just not actually happening, right? So for instance, Mimblewimble and drive chains and side chains and state channels or state chains, all that shit, it's probably not going to happen. Like 90% not going to happen. So you can talk about it all you want, but you're never going to get it rolled into the main chain. By the skin of your teeth, the last upgrade that Bitcoin got was SegWit a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and that caused a lot of issues.
So in 2 years, have we had any other progress whatsoever? No, none, right? Well, when are okay, so what is all this other happy bullshit talking about? You guys barely got SegWit. So what makes you think that you're going to get more controversial stuff like actual anonymity or privacy, or like you're not going to get it? You barely got that, and you had to cheat to do it by threatening the health of the network, by threatening a hard fork, right? By having people that weren't miners signal that they wouldn't accept this other stuff, and then just split the chain, which is basically a Sybil attack, right? Like, if someone wants to attack the Bitcoin network, they set up fake nodes that lie about what's going on, and if there's more of them than truthful nodes, then you just are actually on the fake network, and you think that that's a real network, but it's not. And there's no way to defend against that. There's no way to protect against that. You just have to hope that there's always more honest nodes than not. It's a known vulnerability in the system. And so basically what the SegWit 2x kind of showdown was people saying, listen, even though we'll basically Sybil attack the network if you try and put 2 megabyte blocks in there, because will put so many nodes in the network that don't accept them that when you try and propagate a transaction, it'll fail, right? Mm-hmm. And so they had to do all that fancy, threatening, political, crazy stuff in order to just get SegWit, which shouldn't be controversial at all. It doesn't do anything interesting. It makes the block space slightly more efficient to use and reduce transaction malleability, which was something that made developing in the system harder. That's all it did.
Wasn't it mainly implemented just for the Lightning Network's idea?
No.
It wasn't? Okay.
No. There's transaction malleability is a huge problem that so basically transaction malleability to the layman is you do a transaction. Okay, you did the transaction. Now what is that transaction called? Right? It has a name. And if you didn't have a system to know that name was going to stay that name, then someone else could try and submit the same transaction, actually be successful submitting it, but now it has a new name. And so your transaction would have gone through, but you wouldn't have known that it gone through because the name you're using to look it up wasn't triggered, right? And it's just a development problem. It sucks to develop in an ecosystem where you keep having to try and guess whether your transaction still has the same name or not, right? So, right. So fixing that allowed people to develop in the Bitcoin ecosystem things like Lightning or just wallets or just shopping carts, right? It made everything better because it improved the way that developers could develop, right? That's not controversial. It's not, right? So, but they barely got it passed because, the miners don't have the same incentives you do. You're happy to see the halvening happen in about a year where the miners start getting paid half of what they got paid the day before it.
Right.
You're happy to see that as a holder. You know who's not happy to see that? The miners aren't happy to see that. Because why do they need to get a pay cut? They're doing the same work. Why do they need to get a pay cut? Because the white paper said so? The white paper didn't even say so. The white paper never, ever, 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 ever referenced the rate at which Bitcoin would be issued. That was a design decision made in the client, right? So go look at the white paper and tell me if you see anything about 50 blocks, halvening, any of that stuff. It's not there, right? So...
So since we're talking about it, what are your thoughts when that whole first fork took place, that with Bitcoin Cash and then later on with the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, with somebody who spent a lot of time reading the white paper, is there anything right now that is representing Satoshi's true vision?
Who gives a fuck? He Is the new Corvette mid-engined model coming out in 2020 accurately representing, Mr. Ford's, desire to build the construction line? No, like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't fucking matter what he wants. It does not matter whatsoever, right? What matters is that you are providing people a good or a service that they see value in, and that they invest economic mass into that. And then as the mass gets larger, the volatility gets lower, which funny enough, it hasn't actually. The volatility is higher now than it was in 2017. Like I want to tell this to everyone that's viewing. All you guys have bags of Bitcoin. That's why you're watching me. Okay? You want the price of Bitcoin to go up. I'm going to tell you the truth about Bitcoin and things that suck about it. Understand that the price is still going to go up. The software does not need to improve for the price to go up. The throughput does not need to increase for the price to go up. The adoption does not need to increase for the price to go up. Okay? If the Wall Street guys decide that they're going to FOMO this thing because it's a hedge against the dollar or whatever, that's enough for the price to go up 10x. You don't actually need anything to get better. So quit being little pussies and being mad when I tell you the truth about what's going on. Okay? Because people unsubscribe and get real crybaby and shit if you tell them the truth when all they want you to do is show their bag and lie to them. Okay?
Right. That's what I appreciate about you, man. I mean, I love your honesty.
Yeah, the price will keep going up, and that doesn't mean you have to pretend having no extra users is good. Do you see search volume increasing? Not really. Do you see wallet downloads increasing? Not really. Do you see transaction fees going down? Not really. Do you see on-chain transaction volume going up? Nope. Do you see, where's the good news? There's $10 million in the Lightning Network. What you going to do with $10 million? On a project that's worth 60, 100 million or whatever? Like whatever 18 million coins times $10,250 is. So, just people are so stupid in this space. They've never run real business. They don't understand economics. They don't understand technology. They just want you to say things that their retarded brain thinks, price up, right? And I'm too smart for that shit. So if you want that, there's a lot of other YouTubers you can watch that will lie to you, and you can, have fun with that.
And what's the old saying is the truth hurts. So, I mean,
yeah, look, I'm fat and old, but I'm funny and rich. It's enough. Like, I'm fine. You have to be okay with the reality. Right. So the one thing the reason why I really wanted to talk with you to get a little bit of in-depth information about this HEX project, the first high interest blockchain certificate of deposit. We should try and talk about everything else first, because the people that watch me regularly, they know most of this stuff. So if you got any other like Bitcoin only questions, we should hit those first. Because
well, you've been pretty spot on with the market recently with a lot of your calls. Like, what are you thinking about the market right now? What's going on and with the price action?
I think people are stacking a lot of bids trying to defend 10K because it's a nice round number. And you have people on television like Tom Lee saying things like, if we can break 10K, then it's institutional FOMO and it's shortly all-time highs. And then you've got other guys in television like Novogratz saying, we're in a ranging market from 10K to 14K. Okay, that's what these guys are quoted as saying. And what happens is when people say numbers, it creates a Schelling point, which is like a magnet for the price to go to, because people don't have anything else to rely on, right? They don't have numbers that pop into their head. So if Novogratz says 10 to 14K and Tom Lee says 10K, right, and I'm saying 8,500, well, people are going to tend to cluster their bids around those places, because why not? Where else are you going to put them? They don't have any other price points stuck in their head, right? You can Google Schelling point if you want to understand what it means. I guess I'll tell you. So if you and a buddy get lost in New York City and you want to find each other and you have no way to communicate, what do you think he'll do to try and find you? And everyone just kind of evolves separately into saying that they'll just go to Grand Central Station at noon, right?
Okay.
So people separately end up with guessing the same guess that other people would have guessed, right? It's like empathy kind of thing.
What did you call this?
A Schelling point, Schelling.
Okay.
It might be some other form of Schelling, like SH. I think it's spelled that way. Whatever. Okay. Google will autocomplete it for you. So, when I say 8,500, You know, when I said 20K, the price wicked 20K. That's what happened, because I was, 20K Christmas Richard Hart. People are going to bid. They say, oh, well, he says 20K, let's go to 20K. And it wicked 20K, right? And the same thing happened at 5K. And so I have this belief that if you have an audience and you say a number, it creates a magnet towards that number. Now, I've got a million reasons why we should hit 8,500. It's a 50%, God,
Fibonacci.
I can't remember yeah. It's a 50% Fibonacci retracement of the parabolic advance. It's a 40% drop from the top, which we've done tons of times in the bull market in the past in 2017. It's, not too far from the 200 MA, which I think is like 7,250 or 7,500 now. So, it's within reason. What else? I don't remember all the reasons that we have to go to 8,500, but there's a lot of them, right? And you'd be happy trading just one of them. The fact that there's so much confluence there, you'd be happy to take all of them. Combine that with the FUD of BitMEX investigation, the
Government
Trump tweeting against it, Munchkin tweeting against it, whose real name is Steve Mnuchin, who's the in charge of the Fed, not the Fed, sorry, the Treasury.
No, he's like in financial services or something.
He's the head of the Treasury.
Okay.
So he's, when money gets printed, his department of the government prints it. Being ahead of the Fed is far, far, far more important. I just saw on the cover of the Financial Times today that the Fed is going to cut interest rates for the first time in many years by 25 basis points, which will print more money, which should drive up the value of everything, right? Yep. And it's funny when people talk about gold as a hedge against inflation. It's still down 30% from 10 years ago.
Gold is?
So, yeah. Maybe it's down 28% now because it pumped a little bit, maybe 26%. Yeah, like everything else is up far, far ahead.
All this stuff's based off derivatives trading, though. It's not based off honest, true value of what we see that metal being at.
People say that shit, but
there's so much manipulation
it's like,
between all these different financial institutions.
Yes, but if you can make money in manipulation, can't you make more money manipulating the way it wants to go anyway? Isn't it easier to make money manipulating for Bitcoin to go up instead of for Bitcoin to go down? Because it's a truly limited thing. So when people talk about like collusion and shit, it's easier for them to collude and let you make money with them, right? Than it is to like collude against you. So most of these like conspiracy theories, they don't really work. Like people say, oh, well, the exchange trades against you. No, it's not free for them to do that because sometimes they'll get it wrong and then they lose money. It's not free for them to try and do that, right? Like there's a lot of stuff people think that's free. Like, oh, I'll just trade the Bollinger Bands and I'll just buy the bottom and sell the top. No, it repaints, bro. You're going to get wrecked. Like there ain't the free money taken. All the free money's taken. What's left is the hard money, right? So it's, I don't buy the gold suppression cabal thing. And, it was said that the cabal would suppress Bitcoin and we 5x'd in 4 months. So where's the fucking cabal now, right? CME opens, price dumps from 20K to 3K in less than a year, and then pumps 500%. So everyone that was long made more than everyone that was short. So where's the cabal? Everyone that longed 3K or 4K or 5K, everyone that longed, if the price right now is 10K, everyone that longed under 6K made more than people that shorted the top and sold and bought the bottom. Longing's just better. So like, where's the fucking cabal now? It's stupid, right? It's not the case. They make more money watching the price go sky high, which is why the price goes sky high and everything, right? Everyone that longed the S&P 500 got rich forever because it's at all-time highs, and everyone that shorted the S&P 500 got ruined. And the same thing with Bitcoin. Like longing it beats the fuck out of shorting it.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing my shirt, long Bitcoin shirt, short the bankers.
Yeah, well, see, that's funny because the bankers know more than you do, right?
I know.
So it's like everyone thinks that Bitcoin is this revolution that's going to change the world until you realize that the people that it serves are the people that started with the most money, right? So there's a lot of really rich people that have more Bitcoin than me. Why? Because they cared more about Bitcoin? No, because they have more fucking money. So I don't exactly understand how people think that they're going to be jumping up rungs in the social hierarchy when the bankers have already, like, did you buy 3K? Because I bet the banks did. We're buying their bags back now. They're already ahead. Like, they made the bottom. No one called me up and like, there was no future on premiums. There was no futures premiums. There was no options premiums. There was no volume on CME. And the fucking bottom just came, right? Somebody bought that shit. It wasn't retail. There's no Google searches, right? So whoever that guy was, or entity or group of entities that bought that, they did fucking great. Now we're not sitting at a 5X now. The bottom was about 3150, 3188, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then now we're sitting, last I looked, at about 10,328. I figure it's 10,250 because the back test came out now. And if it's like buy the rumor, sell the news, okay, it's kind of out now. So that's kind of news. So let's dump this shit.
10.3.
And then you have this liquidity thing. Like, people think that stacking up bids over 10K like makes it so that the price doesn't go there. It makes it so the price does go there, right? So if a guy wants to sell his bag, and he's a big bag, right? He doesn't want to sell into a thin order book where he has a lot of slippage. So he just doesn't sell. But if people stack enough bids there, well, then it doesn't cost him much to sell into it in slippage because he can fill his whole order there. And so these liquidity pools act like a magnet. And when people try and stack up bids at 10K to defend it, they actually suck the price down to it because some big bastard wants to get filled with no slippage. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, and it's such a small market that, if you have enough influencers like yourself talking about prices, I mean, it's real easy to...
From that perspective, sure. Yeah, I agree with that. From that perspective. I mean, look, when you look at how thick the order books are, they're less thick since the BitMEX FUD. Rumor of an investigation with no documents to read is kind of shit, and no quoted individuals, and like, that's not exactly good FUD. Hey, we heard that maybe some bad shit's gone down.
Now,
okay.
BitMEX doesn't allow U.S. residents to technically use their service, right? You would have to use
Correct.
a VPN and go through all the different back channels and all that. So how does the CFTC or anybody have any type of saying in what BitMEX is doing?
I'll walk you through that. If you're not a U.S. citizen or a citizen of another banned place, and you're on vacation on the United States, you won't be able to use your BitMEX account because they'll think you're American and might kick you off. So what you do to protect yourself is you get a VPN, and their servers are in Ireland. So I tell people to use the Irish exit node because you have the least latency to their server. And then when you connect, they don't have any reason to believe that you're an American, and you never have any problems. So if you go to richardhart.win, where you want that 10% discount on trading, richardhart.win, click it, and you access it through a VPN with an Irish exit node, then you're not going to have those types of problems. And they don't ask you for personal information. They don't ask you for ID. They don't ask you for anything interesting whatsoever. So you can trade in one confirmation by just sending some coins there. So.
But what does the government, our United States government, have to do with investigating BitMEX that they don't allow U.S. citizens to trade on their exchange?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, they would have to make the case.
It seems like they're out of jurisdiction.
Well, yeah, it is, and it should be. They would have, you would have, in order for me to care about that, you would have to show me precedent in case law showing that that a website has to, it's untenable to me. Like, I don't see any way the prosecutor successfully makes that case that a website is responsible for verifying your residency before they can sell you something. And you have to get an ID from them, because that would apply to all websites, right? Like, It's not just crypto, right? Like, you can't, if you have a terms of service on your website that says you're not allowed to use this if you're X, and the person checks the box, it's like if you have a porn website, right? If you have a porn website and people click that they're 18, okay, well, you clicked that you're 18, right? Imagine if porn websites had to get a copy of your physical ID and give you like a 2-factor authentication dongle. Now, some countries are retarded and they do that. Like in the UK, they did that, literally. So they just banned all porn, and then you have to get a porn license with your ID, and then the government lets you watch porn. I'm not even kidding. They really did that.
Insane.
They really did that, right? I mean, like, if you believe in unlawful search and seizure, searching someone's porn habits is pretty fucked up, right? Yeah. Like, that's something people would care to not have searched. And in the UK, they just are such pussies that they're like, yeah, fucking, give away all our rights, right?
Well,
So
don't people in the UK pay for that television
television
viewing
license.
service where it records them watching TV too? Because I've seen things like where you're seeing different reactions from people who live in England while they're watching a news program and what
I
they're
don't know
talking
about
about
that.
in their home. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
I've
about that.
I don't know what the program was called, but it's like having a two-way box.
Right.
So you
So,
can
I mean,
watch, but they can watch you
yeah,
too.
maybe they pay some people to do that. Like, you have a rating system in the United States that does that too. To pay you a little fee to keep an eye on what you watch, so that they can generate the television ratings.
Right.
But I can't remember the name of the rating system. So you could just Google television rating system and you'll find the word. I don't know if it's Gartman or something. So the question is, to what degree does a website have to suck the balls of every country's government everywhere in the world, right? Because if that's the standard, right, then are you getting Chinese people's IDs? Because shit's illegal in China that's not illegal here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are you getting, like, it just makes commerce untenable. Like, you can't do the bidding of every jurisdiction's controls over their citizens. The citizens have to be responsible for that. And then you, as a website, you have a jurisdiction, and you need to do what's legal in your jurisdiction, right?
Right.
So, now I'm not a lawyer. I mean, take this up with a lawyer. But I don't see how a service that preemptively says in their terms you can't use this if you're American and bans you if you connect from an American IP could be said to like be guilty of trying to court American business, right? I just don't see how you can make the case.
The reason I asked that was because I know somebody who is an American-based cryptocurrency. They're called Cyber. They were a sponsor of my channel, and I did an interview with the CEO, and they did an IEO on an exchange in China called Coinmeal, COINEAL.
Well, that sounds illegal
And
because I think IEOs are illegal in China, but I don't know.
well,
ICOs are illegal in China. I know
I
that.
don't know the legality part of this, but it just ended up they basically kept the funds that were given to list it, said it was an unsuccessful IEO, and aren't trying to refund any money, which was a pretty substantial amount. And now he's trying to figure out what legal channels he can go through, because technically there's nobody in the United States that can help him because it's not in their jurisdiction.
He's not getting that money back, is my guess.
No, I know.
It's easy to get scammed in crypto, and if you own a coin, exchanges fake volume, and then they charge you to list your coin, and then you lose the money. So,
well, they were apparently with the IEO, like apparently the exchange was trying to say that X amount of tokens had been sold, trying to put pressure on people, saying this is so successful, you need to get in on it, and it just was very unsuccessful. And apparently it was just like completely against all terms. And it's like what you're talking about, creating fake volume, creating fake excitement on their end so they can try to capitalize off of it.
If you're looking for scams, you're going to find a lot of scams in crypto. And there's things that you'll lose a lot of money on that aren't scams. If someone makes a shitty coin that shouldn't work, and then it doesn't work, and the price was high at some point, was that a scam, or was it just overpriced, right? Because people start stupid businesses all the time. Most businesses that get started fail. So you don't have to be trying to start a scam to lose everyone's money, because what you're doing could be stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much of crypto has adoption? Like, even Bitcoin. Bitcoin was meant to be peer-to-peer currency. There's less retailers than ever accepting it. There's less ATMs than ever, depending where you live. So I guess we're digital gold now. That's fine with me. I don't mind it, right? Price still goes up. I'm happy, right? But we ain't getting any currency use, right? And that's what the white paper is all about, is the actual currency use. So I'm fine with a pivot, but like if someone wanted to be a stickler and be like, yo, you guys failed, you'd be like, yeah, yes. But a lot of things are pivots. YouTube was a pivot. YouTube was originally a dating website. They pivoted. Flickr
When
was
YouTube
originally
first started out, it was a dating site.
Yeah, you can look it up on Wayback Machine.
Okay,
Right on the homepage, it asks how old you are and what you're looking for and stuff. So like, yeah, everybody pivots. Pivots are like very common. So it would be easy to defend the failure claim against Bitcoin with no adoption.
I mean, you've been pretty much well known to be kind of a Bitcoin maximalist for quite a while. And
Yep.
are there any altcoins at all that you find any value in?
Prime coin because I have a bag of it. Uh, so if you like, so for instance, if SHA-256 mining failed or was hacked or broke for some reason, then being able to rotate in a different proof of work would be awesome. And Prime coin is the only useful proof of work coin that exists, and that's kind of neat, right? So in Bitcoin, we burn electricity, hashing stuff, which has absolutely no value, which makes it, secure and more secure because it has no value. In Prime coin, you generate the prime numbers, and then those do have some scientific value outside of just mining, right? So ever so slightly reduces the amount of security you get for your hash rate. But how many other honest, forks of Bitcoin with proof of work exchange are out there? Litecoin is one, and they use scrypt, and then Primecoin is one that uses finding prime numbers. I bought it because I thought they were going to do a merge fork, and I thought the price would pump real hard. And then the guy that said he was doing it, he just decided not to do it. So
That was a prime coin,
yeah, it was called
like a merge
they're
for
going
combining
well,
two
the UTXO said
together.
they were going to give the UTXO set of Primecoin and the UTXO set of Bitcoin a new coin called Bitcoin Prime, and then it should have pumped like Bitcoin Private did, which was a shit show, but the price still went up 100x or whatever. So I thought something similar might happen. It didn't, so I got wrecked on that. Still
There's
got
a
a bag of it.
project out. There's a cryptocurrency called Goldcoin that has been out, I think, since like 2013. It's traded on Bittrex. It was originally, I think, a code fork from Feathercoin, which I think was a code fork from Litecoin, which is a code fork from Bitcoin. Well, long story short, they're doing what you're talking about, what Prime Coin was going to do, and they're calling it a reverse hard fork. But they're basically forking the Bitcoin technology with some changes and additions and using the UTX, if I'm using that terminology correctly, from Goldcoin,
Yeah.
keeping the Goldcoin branding
Mm-hmm.
and not doing because what they're trying to create is basically could be called like Bitcoin full scale. And they feel like they're creating a solution to the scaling, but instead of using the Bitcoin name and creating just another Bitcoin fork, they were keeping the branding of the gold coin, which I thought was an interesting concept.
Look, if it pumps and you're in early, cool. Like, it. So we're talking about coins that maybe have speculative value, right?
Right.
Those would be more exciting if the alt season kicked off, right? Which it may never come. Like, maybe we don't get an alt season. I don't know. I think we will. So the belief that I have is people that got rich owning Bitcoin then they tell their friends are jealous about it. They see how high the price went up, so they don't want to buy it because they figure they missed it. So then they buy the next best thing, which is like Bitcoin 2.0, whatever they think it is, right? So if the bull market runs for a little while, then you'll get, I believe, investments into alts. Then someone else posted a theory about how the alt season market usually kicks off, a year after the halvening, which is in about a year. So I don't know, right? Now I have my own coin coming out that I think is, amazing. One, I'm biased, but two, I built it to be amazing because I know what amazing looks like. So I got to take my bias and build it and then be happy about it, right? I wasn't like I got a thing and then decided to like it. It's like I decided what I would like and then build that, and then now I like it because I built it to the spec that would make me like it. Other alts I think are good is Monero, because if you actually want to transact and have anonymity or privacy, well, there you go. It works better than Bitcoin. And Nick Szabo, who some people think might actually be Satoshi, just came out saying that he likes it too, so you should support it. He tweeted that yesterday, the day before, which is tempting the maximalist wrath, because maximalists just want to pump their bags. They don't really give too much of a shit about actually getting things done, and Monero actually gets things done, right? Like, you want to pay someone anonymously, you don't have that option available to in Bitcoin. Good luck hoping
I'm actually
works.
supposed to be doing an interview Thursday with Ricardo with Fluffy Pony, so
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
try to get a bit of a lowdown and have him explain, because I definitely believe that Monero is the top choice when it comes to privacy coins. And
I agree with that.
Their community, their maintainers or developers, it's a great decentralized project, and I like what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it works. I mean, I could list you all the things that suck about it, but people tell me, Rich, you're so negative. You're like, no, actually, I'm really positive about the shit that's true. Like, yeah, the price is going up. We're probably gonna in a year or two we'll be at 100K. So yeah, I'm happy about that, but I'm not happy about this other shit. It's no good, right?
Right. Well, so do you think that as we get more of this like institutional money coming in and things like backed coming out, do you think we're going to start seeing some of these speculative projects just falling through the wayside and just being done with, and us minimizing how many cryptocurrency and projects are out there?
I don't think so. I think, I mean, I explained the mechanism just a minute ago. People get rich in Bitcoin. They tell their friends about it. Their friends want to get rich too, but they think they missed the Bitcoin boat because the price is up so much. So then they buy the next thing, right? And so whatever the new next thing is likely to capture that money. Now, if no one gets rich in Bitcoin, and it's all just institutions, and the institutions don't want to buy alts, then maybe that pump is smaller, but I don't think it will be. Like, I don't see how that mechanism would change between the 2017 time it did it and this time. I think you need new things for people to get excited about, right?
Right.
We can talk about HEX if you want to, unless you got other questions.
No, I'm totally good. I mean, I really wanted to learn a lot about HEX
All right.
because originally you had started out using the name Bitcoin HEX.
Yep.
And I know this was a ERC20 token.
Yep.
You took away the Bitcoin name. Now it's just HEX.
Yep.
And I'll have links down below so people can check out the project. The website says it's the first high interest blockchain certificate of deposit.
Yep.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So what makes the price of a cryptocurrency or any instrument go up? More people buy it than sell it. Okay. Well, that's easy. Well, can you program in software to make more people buy it? Nope. Can you program in software that less people can sell it? Yes. So I can program the demand. I can program the supply side. I can't program the demand side.
Right.
So in the real world, we have multiple trillions of dollars of money that is locked by time. And if you lock it up by time, they pay you more money, right? So if you go to your bank and you ask them, hey, Mr. Banker guy, what's your most popular product? Checking account. Or actually, probably savings account is even more popular, but let's call it a checking or savings account. Okay, what's your second most popular product? Time deposits, which is why there's multiple trillions of dollars in them, right? So what's a time deposit? Well, if you put your money in your checking account, do they give you interest? Not usually. If you put your money in a savings account, do they give you interest? Yes. Why? Because you're more likely to leave it in there for longer, because you're not writing checks against it. So they give you interest. Okay. If you want more interest in a savings account, then you can get a CD. What's a CD? A certificate of deposit. What do you call it in other countries? Time deposit. And how does that work? The longer you leave it in there, the longer you lock it, the more interest they give you. So we already do this with multiple trillions of dollars. I think it's like 6 trillion in the United States, maybe 5 or 6 trillion in China. The stats are in the white paper beta. If you want to download the white paper beta draft, it's in t.me/hex crypto. And then in the welcome message, it's a link to white paper beta and a layman's guide that explains how the contract works and a lot of other cool stuff. So no cryptocurrency is addressing the market of multiple trillions of dollars that is in time deposits. None. Naval, who's a very successful startup entrepreneur, thought leader in the startup space, technology space, society space, everything space, pretty much. It was either him or Balaji. Sorry if I get my Indian gurus mixed up. They posted, "Hey, is anyone working on like monetizing like time locks?" I'm like, "Yes, actually, because I'm a genius." All right, go to hex.win. So why is this so awesome? In Bitcoin, miners have to pay bills. And to pay those bills, they sell coins and drive the price down. Why? What else are they going to sell? Right? They buy mining hardware, which is expensive. They put it in a facility, which is expensive. They have electric bills, which are expensive, and they pay those with coins that they sell. And then occasionally they start their own copycat currencies to try and compete with the money that everyone paid to Jihan through Bitmain. Jihan then used to try and kill Bitcoin by trying to make Bitcoin Cash, something that he held a lot of, take over the position of real Bitcoin. So all the money that miners gave him, he used to fuck over those people and hurt their investment, right? That sucks, right?
Yeah.
The miners don't talk in my chat. They don't come on interviews. They don't talk to you on Twitter. They may not speak English, bro. These people are not your buddies. They're not your friends. They're not trying to help you. And they often fuck things up, right? And the funny thing is, when you pay miners a block reward, you're paying them for security. And who are you paying them for security from? Other miners, right? So the miners are the people that would attack your ass in the first place, which is hilarious, right? So what if you could run a cryptocurrency and not pay block rewards to miners? Well, that's what we do in HEX. We pay our block rewards to people that hold instead, which means we don't have any externalities. We don't have electric bills to pay. We have very little electric bills to pay because you only need to pay the miners to do a transaction, and you don't need to do many transactions because everyone's locked up. That's where the profit in it is to lock up your funds, right? So you don't need very high throughput to do that. So like if you open a 10-year stake, you need 2 transactions in 10 years. Well, that ain't too hard, right? So we pay all the inflation to people who have their coins locked, which is very similar to having no inflation. Because if it's locked, you can't sell it and you can't drive the price down. And so when they actually get their coins unlocked, whenever that time is when the inflation comes on market. So, we're starting off with 3.69% inflation, and Bitcoin started off with hundreds of thousands of percent annualized. When you go from one block to second block, you just doubled the supply of the currency right there, right? So, it took Bitcoin about 11 years to get down to a similar rate that Bitcoin HEX will be starting off with after its launch phase at year 1, week 50, really. Okay. So, we'll have, like, if you look at other currencies and you look at their inflation rates, they're just insane. Like Zcash, I think inflation rate this year is like 45% or 40%. Maybe it's 35% now. That's huge, right? And that's why the price just keeps going down. So, in our system, the entire game is, if you get in early, you get more. If you lock longer, you get more. If you refer people, you get more. And then everyone gets their ducks in a row the first year, trying to get as many shares as they can. Because at the end of the first year is when we pay all the unclaimed coins. So a lot of people aren't going to claim, right? I'm well known. I've got good marketing. We've got 3,000 real people in the chat. I never even mailed the email list. Maybe I emailed half of it once, maybe a long time ago. All the new guys over the last 8 months, 10 months, I haven't even mailed them, and we've got 20,000, 30,000 people on the mailing list. With very little marketing, no budget on spend, no demo. The marketing for this is massive. It's huge. People are chomping at the bit. They really, really want it. Now today, I just got another demo from my UI dev, and I just, right before I was on this call, I was doing all the stuff I have to do in my internal dev environment to load it, right? So I have to host my own blockchain, then I have to compile the contract, then I have to deploy the contract on the blockchain, and then I have to compile the front end, then I have to deploy the front end. There's a lot of work, right?
Oh yeah, I've been talking to you for a couple of months about this, and I could tell it's been a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And nothing works the first time you try it. You're like, okay, I'm missing a dependency. Can you walk me through this? Why am I missing this, right? And then people smarter than me have to fix it, because I'm smart, but when it comes to doing development, it's harder than you think it is. Well, everything that should be easy is not easy. It's really hard. Like today, I try and run the install thing, and it tells me I don't have access. I don't have permission. And I'm like, all right, chmod, and then giving permission for the operating system to access the file. I'm just like, oh God, this is so hard. So it's something you never have to do in Windows, right? In Windows, you never have to right click a file and tell your computer that it has access to run the file that's in it, right? But in Linux, you have to, right? Because you can, there's long story.
You can screw up really bad.
It's just a different system,
Right.
Just you're not logged. You're not just because you're logged in doesn't mean you can run whatever you want to run. It's not that way in Windows either. Like there's user level and admin level, and you're supposed to be logged in as user and all this other fancy stuff. So it's kind of like that in Windows too.
So you were mentioning at the end of the first full year, all the unclaimed coins will go back to those stakeholders. So you mentioned on the website that this is free for Bitcoin holders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have Bitcoin at the snapshot, you're going to get 10,000 hex for each Bitcoin you had. It's almost always going to be more than that. So if you get in first day, you're getting a 20% bonus. If you were referred by somebody, you're getting a 10% bonus. If you stake longer, you get about a 20% bonus every extra year that you stake. So you're gonna get a lot of extra shares when you claim. So if you just click somebody's referral link, you're getting 10% more there. You're getting 10,000 base. So that means on every Bitcoin you're getting 11,000. Plus you're getting the 20% speed bonus if you claim first day. So that's like what 13.2, something like that. So 13,200 just for being early and being referred. The guy that referred you is going to get 20%. So he's going to get 20% of that, of your net, like not your net, but the actual largest number. He's going to get 20% of the largest number there. So after all your bonuses.
When is the snapshot taking place?
So basically the timing is, I'm getting quotes from auditors now because the contract is done. The UI works now. The claim function is the last thing that he's building to make it work. Then we make it pretty. Some things are a little bit harder. So like doing graphic visualization of the state of the contract, like, what's the average return on investment from people that got in at X date? That's something where you have to turn the entire blockchain into a database that you can query. And that's not for sale as a service, oddly. I actually don't know why. It's a good business. Someone should do it. But, you've got your blockchain, which you access through an endpoint. In Ethereum, it would be Geth or Parity are the two, clients that people use to access it. Parity's faster. Maybe one day, Geth will be faster. They just released an update a couple days ago that makes it better, but I still don't think it's faster than Parity. So you've got your Parity node, and through that, you're accessing the state of the blockchain, right? And then you have to look at when your contract got started, and then every single event that ever applied to that contract. So every stake that opened, every stake that closed, every one that emergency end staked, every coin that was burnt. So in our system, when you stake your coins, it burns them. And then when your stake expires, it makes you new ones and pays you.
Okay.
Which is there's reasons why that's cool. Because then you couldn't say that the contract was ever holding them. It never took possession. It's not a money transmitter. It never had them. It just destroys stuff and builds stuff. It never takes your stuff, right? So there's cool tax and legal arguments for that structure. Some thought has gone into these things.
So how do you figure out like the max supply or anything like that?
So because the max supply is a function of when people claim and how many people were referred and when they were referred, the max supply is basically the supply at the end of the 50-week launch phase, which I estimate is in between 550 billion, 750 billion, something like that. I'd have to check my sheet. And then from that point forward, it's just 3.69% inflation. That's it. All right, so it's very simple. Up to 50 weeks, it's hard because it's based on user behaviors. After 50 weeks, it's extremely simple. It's all the coins that existed at week 50 after, the lump sum payout of all the unclaimed coins. And then it just keeps going on 3.69% forever. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it being 3.69% forever because we're just paying people that are locked. We're not paying externalities. They never have to sell. They don't have bills to pay. We're not paying people to dump on us. We're just paying people that are locked. So it's not, I guess we're crediting people that are locked, but they're getting paid at the end of their stake, which is usually quite far in the future.
Right.
So the price
That's an
will always
interesting
appreciate
concept.
if your adoption rate of people is higher than 3.69%, which is a pitifully low number. So, I mean, like I said, Bitcoin, it took Bitcoin 11 years to get to that number, and it was at $20,000 when it did. So
Right.
we're starting out with what it took Bitcoin 10 or 11 years to get to. It's actually very, very, very good. It's a very low interest rate. After the first 50 weeks, during the 50 weeks, all the bonuses and stuff, during the launch phase, you know.
Do you have a specific date for the snapshot, or is it still kind of like
So
up in the air?
as soon as I've got code locked to give to an auditor, and we don't have the code locked yet, right? So I want to see all of the functions work with the UI so we know we don't have to add anything. Because if we find out we needed to like add an index to some event so that the UI could like present the data better or something like that, I'd rather have that done now so that when I lock the code and the auditors audit it, that we don't have to play a guessing game later if something had to be added, right? So they finish the audit and it's great and everything looks good. And then we're like, hey, we wanted to add an index to this event. And then, well, okay, is the audit still valid? Probably, but why don't we just not have to worry about that, right? I could do it either way. I don't think adding an index to an event would really invalidate an audit, but if the code can just be locked before the audit, I'm pretty happy with that too. So I don't know. Maybe I'm 50-50 on it. Like I just got this code now and putting it on my own blockchain. It's already on there, right? I just have to run the script so the contract's living on my own local blockchain, and that's fabulous. But now I have to have the virtual users start doing things on it, right? So they have to open up stakes and close stakes, and I'm just getting to that part, right? Once we've done that with every phase, right? So like OpenStake, the only functions are as follows. You can claim your free Bitcoin, and when you do, you're auto-staked for 50 weeks. So you can't dump on people until you've seen the system, you've seen some gains. Now you can dump if you want to, right? So you're 90% auto-staked for 50 weeks. You can choose to make that stake longer so you get more bonuses, right? But it's a minimum 50 weeks with no emergency on staking. 10% you can dump if you want. Have fun, right? This is a great idea because it stops people from joining the system that just want to dump on you. The people that are likely to join and stay, we're going to stake longer anyway. They don't care. The people that are likely to join and dump are less likely to join now because you're getting paid 90% less because it's delayed, right? Or they think it's 90% less because they only care about now. But if they were smart and cared about later, they'd realize it's more. So we're making it so that people that are likely to dump go away. We're not interested. And the people that are likely to stay join up and stay, right? Because that's how we get maximum price appreciation. Everything in the system is designed to make the price go up, right? The inflation rate, the staking system, the longer pays better, the bigger pays better, which now we call, I think larger pays better or something. We changed it from, it was longer pays better and then larger pays better, but we changed it to bigger pays better because they both had the same LGB or LPB. So now, just in a normal CD, if you have $100,000 in there, they pay you more. And on our system, in order to save the Ethereum network, we want you to transact on the network less because it makes everyone's fees less. And it gives you a reason to invest more, right? And have a larger stack. So if you have a larger stack, you're going to make slightly more interest. I think it's 10% more. I'd have to check the code. I think it's 10% more off the top of my head. And then, longer pays better will pay you up to 300% of your stack. So it's 200% bonus shares plus your shares you would have got anyway. It's up to 3x your stack. And then bigger pays better pays you about 10% more. And those compound against each other. So and it's just like the real world. It's just what we have in CDs. Okay, you got a bigger CD, you get paid more. You stake longer, you get paid more. There's a ton of good stuff. Like in Bitcoin, you're worried about inflation bugs every time you change the code. Just narrowly avoided one because a Bitcoin Cash developer warned them about it. We don't have that problem in HEX because the consensus code lives in a contract that's not changeable by anyone. And so if the network upgrades to have higher throughput, There's no accidental way that they could screw that up because
Right.
it's there, immutable. It can't be changed, right? So it's less likely to have an inflation bug. Nearly impossible to have an inflation bug, in my opinion. What else? It's easier to interact with on dexes. So now on Bitcoin, do you have a distributed exchange you can trade Bitcoin on? Not really. Why? Because the distributed exchanges are all written in Ethereum, and so they can easily transact in ERC20 tokens. You can do atomic swaps on ERC20 to ERC20 with no counterparty risk. You can do that on Bitcoin versus what? Basically
Right.
nothing. Like apparently someone might have done one between Litecoin and Bitcoin, maybe, right? And someone did one between Bitcoin and an ERC20, but it only went one way. It wouldn't go back the other way. But in the Ethereum ecosystem, like off the bat, we have hardware wallet support for Ledger and Trezor because we use the MetaMask wallet, which has hardware support for Ledger and Trezor. So off the bat, we have a hardware supported currency. That's great.
It
Like
is.
like how many other currencies start with that? Like none. Like it's pretty great. Yeah, like I haven't been
Something
shilling HEX as much as I used to. I used to be snappier with all these like great points. There's a lot of them.
I mean, you've been immersing yourself into this thing, so I completely
Well,
understand.
building it and advertising are just entirely different. So I've been focusing on building it instead of talking about it because it's already over marketed and people are dying for it. So let's get a demo out there, right? Let's get people on the test net and let's get off to audit. And then, once we send it off to audit, which I'm getting quotes now, I mean, we could be off to audit next week. It's possible. Then it's 2 weeks warning for the snapshot. Maybe we're in audit for 3 weeks. That's 5 weeks. I mean, we could have a snapshot within 6 to 9 weeks, right?
Okay.
Depending on when I just choose to send some money to an auditor and say go, right? They're expensive. So, and
Are you going to give
they're not
everybody at
all
least like
similar quality. Yeah, everyone will
yeah.
have 2 week warning for sure.
2 week warning? Okay.
For
At least
sure.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and as I hit milestones to show you, then you'll know it's getting closer, right?
But something that when you first had talked about the project, one of the things that I saw was something about penalizing whales.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that still in effect?
Yep.
And if it is, can you explain that?
Yeah, there's a lot of
That was
stuff
an
in there.
interesting concept.
Yeah, so we don't want the whole idea behind getting the price to go up is getting people on board that buy, not sell, and buy more, right? And if someone's how do you detect all the people that are going to dump on you? So, for instance, the Bitcoin Cash guys gave their fork coins to the Mt. Gox trustee that held 190,000 Bitcoin at the time. And so he sold something like 60 or 70,000 Bitcoin Cash into the market because they gave them to him. Now, how was giving the Bitcoin Cash trustee 90,000 Bitcoin Cash useful?
It's not.
Retarded. But they did it because, they're slightly retarded. In our system, if you don't claim within the first 50 weeks, you can't claim anymore. And it's a running timer. If you don't claim by week 25, you lost half your stack. If you don't claim by week 50, you lost all of your stack, right? And it's even worse than you think it is because even if you don't, so let's say you wait till week 25 to claim and you do get half of your stack, you've been diluted out the ass by everyone else because they've been getting everyone else credited for everyone else's the interest, which gives them more shares, which will give them more of the unclaimed coins at the end. So the guys that get in early get more of that giant stack at the end, which is where the most of the returns in the beginning are going to come from, the unclaimed coins.
Okay.
Because a lot of people can't claim because we don't support multi-sig. A lot of people can't claim because they're dead, probably Satoshi. Lost coins, right? And then there's some addresses that they just can't claim because of other technical reasons, right? So of coins that can claim after the whale penalties, there's maybe 12.4 million coins that can claim of the maybe 17.5 million that exist. Maybe it's like 17.8 million, I'd have to check. So, right there, if 100% of people that possibly could claim did, there's still 5 million coins being distributed to people, which is a 50% payout right there, right? And then I don't think I'm going to get every single possible Bitcoin holder to claim because it's hard to reach everybody. right? You
Right.
tend to get exponential growth in your system. And because even though we're getting exponential growth, the people that get in late are getting paid exponentially less because those coins are being given to people who got in early. So it's like, it's very interesting. I pulled every lever I could. I mean, so I even have my own affiliate link to get my own affiliate clicks.
So you could be a shillionaire.
Yeah, I want to be a shillionaire. So if you go to pumpamentals.com, that puts my cookie on there. And then everything in the system was designed to have a pumpamental, right? There's things that make these systems work well, and I included them. What's another thing? So emergency end staking. If you say that you're going to stake for 10 years and you get the 3x reward in shares, right? So you get 3 times as many shares as you would have gotten if you just staked a day. Then let's say you emergency end stake and eject, and you do it before half of the period. Well, you owe a penalty. You owe a lot. You're not going to make any interest on that. And if you did it early enough, you'll eat into principal. So if you stake long enough and eject early enough, you can nuke your balance to 0. And that money gets paid a penalty to the staker pool. It also gets paid to the origin address, which gets a copy of the bonuses. It doesn't get interest. It doesn't get interest, and it doesn't get, I don't know, some other thing. There's 2 things it doesn't get. It does get a copy of, like, if someone gets a referral bonus, it gets a copy. If someone gets referred, or it says 2 bonuses on refer. If you're referred, it's 10%. If you refer somebody, it's 20%. It gets copies of those. The unclaimed coins it gets a copy of. So that stuff
Is the only way to get this coin to be a Bitcoin holder, or can you
No.
once it's released,
There's another
can it
way.
be bought?
So there's 3 ways to get it. You
Okay.
can get it from somebody else that got it, which kind of dodges the question. So there's really only 2 ways. You can either claim or refer people, or there's an adoption amplifier. So here's the way the adoption amplifier works. If in our referral system that's going to generate a lot of traffic, you can only make money on people that had Bitcoin at the snapshot. Well, that sucks, because most people will not have Bitcoin at snapshot because most people don't have any Bitcoin at all. So as a refer, that would suck. So what we did was we added an adoption amplifier where now the referrers can make money on people that put Ethereum into the contract. So if a person, every day there's unclaimed coins. Those unclaimed coins are going to be paid to the stakers at the end of the claim phase at 50 weeks. A copy of those unclaimed coins gets put into the adoption amplifier where people can send Ethereum in and then get HEX out at the end of the day. So the first day it's 1 billion coins. The next day it's probably 500 million. It's probably near 500 million for the rest of the time. You have to guess how many people are going to claim and when they're going to claim. But based on an okay guess, that's about the numbers, right? And we're preceding the first day because we have to, because there's no unclaimed coins the first day, right? So you only get your first batch of unclaimed coins at the end of the first day. So the adoption amplifier means that if you send in 1 GUI, which is like 1.17 zeros and a 1 of an Ethereum, which is, an immeasurably small amount. It's, smaller than a grain of sand worth of Ethereum. If you put that amount in and you're the only guy to do that day, then you'll get all billion coins that get paid that day. If someone joins after you, right? So let's say you put in 1 Ethereum and another guy puts in Ethereum. Well, then you guys are going to split that billion between the 2 of you. And so all it does is it looks at how many people put in Ethereum, then it looks at how many coins it's going to hand out, and at the end of the day, it just hands them out percentage-wise, right?
Okay.
And then it does that every day. So then the next day, you have another round. Okay, here's how many HEX were unclaimed. This is a copy of them. And here's how many people put in Ethereum, and then it divides them up amongst you guys. Now, nothing's automatic in Ethereum, so when I say it divides it up amongst them, you join the lobby, the transformation lobby that transforms the coins, and at the end of the day, it allows you to then run it, and then if you run it again, you get paid, right? So you you do one transaction to get in the lobby, and you get one transaction to get out of the lobby. So you won't actually be sent anything in Ethereum. There's nothing that's automatic. You have to ask everything to be done and pay a small fee to do it, about 2 or 3 cents. So when you join the lobby, it's about 3 cents to join, and then put in whatever you want for Ethereum. You ain't going to get that Ethereum back. And then when you leave the lobby, you actually receive the HEX in your wallet, and then you can, stake them or sell them or do whatever you want with them, right? The game is pretty much, if you get in early, so if you get in early in the lobby, then you can start staking earlier. Then you can build up a larger stack internally that then pays you more of the giant payout at the end of the 50 weeks, because it cascades, right? Because there's a share price. So every time someone end stakes, it updates the share price based on what their profit ratio was. So if one guy did really good and made a high return on investment, then the share price gets set to that. And then the next guy that wants to get in, he's got to pay that higher price. And that's in effect how the internal compounding is done. So if you got in early, right, and you compounded your gains and compounded your gains, compounded your gains, we'd have to keep spamming the network with inflating everyone's numbers. So instead of doing that, we just did the inverse, which is mathematically the same, which is we just have a share price that keeps going higher. So instead of having to compound everyone's shares and create larger and larger numbers, we just have a share price that goes up. And so now if you get in later, you're going to have less shares because the share price is higher because all those other guys got in before you, right?
Okay.
So there'll be a chart of the share price, and there'll be a chart of when stakes are coming available, right, to be unstaked. And then there's, if you don't end stake when you said you would, you'll be penalized after a 2-week grace period, 1% every week, right? And that gets paid half of it to the staker pool, unless someone of the niceness of their hearts runs the good accounting function and saves you from being screwed like that. So if anyone in the world can run the good accounting function and pay to save everyone from that fate, and if they did that once every 2 weeks, no one would ever pay that penalty. The reason for that is when you have shares in the share pool diluting everyone else's payouts because you're reserving payouts for yourself, if your stakes expired, you're reserving payouts you can't even get, and you're just paying everybody else less, and it's not fair. And so who should pay to do the logic to update the state of the system to remove your expired stake? You should, because you opened that stake. So it's kind of neat. Like if people want to eject early, the people that didn't eject get paid more, the loyal stakers. If people, get in and get a bonus and then just let their stake expire and basically screw everyone by getting everyone else paid less because they were in there sucking up money that they're not even going to get paid, well then the stakers will be made whole, I think, you'd have to check the math on it, by getting half of that guy's penalty, which is all of his money, right? Like if you don't end your stake and you wait 100 weeks and no one else ran good accounting for you, I mean, it could be the case that someone of the nicest of their hearts, because it's so cheap, just runs this for everybody every 2 weeks and then no one ever pays it. Could be the case.
Right.
So I just built game theory in there for there to be a financial incentive to update the system state to be accurate. Someone had to pay for it. Why not the guy that made it inaccurate, right?
Makes sense. So now, if I was to claim when the snapshot takes place and it's time to claim my tokens, if I was to claim my tokens, do I have to stake them?
No, you can sell.
Okay.
So let me remind you, you can sell 10% of them. 90% of them will be auto staked for 50 weeks. When the 50 weeks is up, then you can run the end stake function, and then do what you want with them.
And so you plan on having HEX listed on exchanges?
Well,
I'm assuming,
IDEX, IDEX, who has the most volume of any DEX on Ethereum, said they wanted to list it. And Ether Delta will list anything that you have the address for, because anyone can add anything. I think they have a lot less volume than IDEX does. When we're in audit, I'll be making the phone calls to all the normal exchanges people we've heard of, see if they want to list. I'm careful about what I tell you what's going to happen, because in order to not be a security, you have to not give money to a common pool with the expectation of profit from the work of others, which means I got to make sure you expect no work from me, right? So if great things happen after launch, great. But I'm not promising them, don't expect it. Because I don't want to be a security, so I can't give you those expectations, right?
No, yeah, you're definitely treading on some interesting grounds all the way around. And for you to have to take all this legality stuff into effect, I mean, people don't
It's not,
realize that.
I mean,
You made the
it's,
wrong decision, you could be paying for this in the worst of ways.
thanks. Thanks for that positive framing.
I don't mean it like you specifically. I'm just saying in general, if somebody makes the wrong decision, the government could come at you and make it very, very hard.
The less that you piss the government off, the better your life will be. So if you can do good things without stepping on toes, great, right? So I have never and will never tell you that there's some work that you're going to be getting because you paid some money for a thing. When it's launched, it's not editable, it's not changeable, it is what it is. It's audited, it's awesome. It's probably more secure than Bitcoin, at least from inflation bugs, which is the only real problems Bitcoin's had. They had to roll back the chain once because someone printed 6 billion coins. And they had you can read about the report on what happened with the recent inflation bug. So like the incidents report. If you like that and you like the mad gains, you like the pump up panels, and you love the stake until you make it and the program to pump and all the other awesome stuff. We got a bunch of guys that love to make memes. T.me/HEX memes. We got a HEX meme subreddit. And this is without a demo, which will be soon. Like if I can internally test it.
The people in your Telegram group are rabid, man. They're definitely on your team.
I mean, think about it this way: when Vitalik launched Ethereum, I don't think he had as many followers as I do. I don't think he was in television like I am, and I don't think the ecosystem existed for him to have things audited at the time. So whatever good things Ethereum had going for it, we kind of have better, right? Like we have a better personality, better marketing, better sales pitch, like World Computer and Unstoppable dApps and all that shit. No one cares. No one uses any of that. None of it, right? Our use case, stores value, get paid more for locking longer. You can't fuck that up. Like we don't need people to want to do something new, right? People buy tokens because they want the price to go up, and they never spend them anyway. They just hold them. So why not get paid to hold them, right? Like everything we're doing is proven, tried and true, 90+% of the actual utility in crypto. All these other tokens that, we're going to replace cell phones. No, you're not. Oh, we're going to replace internet access. No, you're not. Oh, we're going to timestamp. You ain't timestamping shit. No one cares. Truly no one cares at all. Like, are they, no, and there's no adoption anywhere in crypto except for speculation. And so we're doing speculation better. And we're addressing something that's got a $4 trillion market cap. If you look at Ethereum and you think, all right, well, what's the market cap for dApps? There really isn't one, right? Like CryptoKitties. I mean, and think about this: how much demand are we adding to Ethereum's ecosystem? Well, in theory, not that much. If stakes have longer periods, well, this is a low amount of overhead, right? This is not driving up fees on the ETH ecosystem much, and we designed it to have low impact on the ecosystem because we like cheap fees, right? And then if for some reason ETH sucks, all right, well, we can airdrop everyone to this system on another substrate that works better if we need to, right? So if we have to pivot, we can. I don't think we'll have to. I think Ethereum does have the most devs, and they do have the most stuff figured out, and they are working on Scalable the hardest. It's definitely the right ecosystem for what we're doing.
I mean, yeah, they definitely. I mean, between all the people working with Ethereum, yeah. I mean, there's
no comparison. Like,
I know there's a lot of other platforms that are trying to compete with what ETH is trying to do, but they do not have the team that Ethereum has.
The team or the hash rate or the tools or like, if you want to launch a cryptocurrency, Ethereum's the best. If you need to do things, if you're just launching a cryptocurrency that doesn't actually have to do things, there's better options. I won't tell them to you because I don't need more people fighting for money.
Right.
It's like when HEX is launched, if someone were to ask me, how can I make the most money in crypto? I'd probably tell them, well, you're going to make the most money in the thing you get in the earliest. Why? Because it gets harder to pump things that are larger and larger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm glad we got our 5X from 3K, right? That's awesome. When I called the 20K Christmas at 3 or 4K, all right, there's a 5X, right? And I'm okay with calling, 100K now, right? 60 to 100K, I'm okay with calling a target for the top of the next bull run. But why am I calling 60 to 100K? Because I'm only comfortable calling about 3X to 5X over our past top, because it gets harder to get more money, right? Like, you've seen a lot going on in Congress, and you've seen a lot with the president, a lot with Treasury, and that's with us having no adoption at all. If we got more adoption and started stepping on more toes, they could fight back harder, right? I mean, China banned the shit out of this stuff, and they're like this close to just banning mining too. This close.
Yeah, and they could do the same thing here in the United States easily.
And so even without the FUD and fear bullshit, it gets hard to find extra hundreds of billions of dollars to put in. And yeah, there's big banks getting in now, cool, but they run out of money to allocate too, right? Once their bags are full, they ain't buying no more, right? Now, I don't know when they're done filling up their bags, right? But at some point, it's going to get harder to make insane gains on something that has such a large market cap. And once the market cap actually has, let's fanboy it and drink some hopium or sniff it. I'm not exactly sure how hopium works because I don't really fuck with it.
Right.
But, let's say that it's the most adopted currency out there. Well, then you're not going to get any gains at all because then everyone's already got it. So you're going to have to wait for new humans to be born, I guess, right? So if you want maximum ROI, a project that you're in early on is going to pay extremely well, that, picks up and gets adoption. Not even adoption, but just hype or whatever, right? Because these prices go up to infinity on no adoption whatsoever. So if a project is fake and doesn't work, but has good hype, it's going to go to the moon. Congrats, welcome to crypto, right? It does the same shit in the stock market too, right? Theranos was fake, went to the moon. Enron was fake too, went to the moon. So, yeah, world's first Bitcoin blockchain CD addresses a multi-trillion-dollar market no one else is addressing. Audited smart contract you can feel safe putting money into. And it's totally, there's no middlemen, right? So, if you have to buy from an exchange instead of the adoption amplifier, maybe they don't give you your money. Maybe they lose your transaction. Maybe they don't like you anymore and don't let you log in. Maybe their cold wallet gets hacked. Maybe they never had a cold wallet and it was really hot the whole time. Mount Gox. So with the smart contract, the same thing that mints the coins, you ask for the coins and it gives them to you. No counterparties, nobody in the way, no fees, no order book, no bid-ask spread. New coin launches on an exchange. Dude market buys into a basically empty order book, buys $1,000 worth. It really only gets $1 worth because he just pushed the price into the outer atmosphere, right? And then it instantly comes back down, and he just got one little tiny unit of the currency he tried to buy because he didn't understand how order books work, right? I just saw that happen on an exchange, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Happens almost every time any token launches. And then the chart looks like crap forever because that guy bought into a nearly empty order book. I did that when I first bought Bitcoin too. So I understand. I was smart back then. So, being really smart and being successful in business and such doesn't mean you understand how order books work. It's hard to learn when you first see it.
Trading itself can be hard. A lot of people think they know what they're doing.
It's war. You're trying to take someone else's money. Why would it be easy? You want to take his money, he wants to take your money. It's not going to be easy, right? In crypto, the bulls usually win. Remember that. Don't short a bear market and don't short shit coins. Yeah, you might make money for a while, but when they eventually rip or exit pump or whatever, you're going to lose it all. So if you want to get into HEX, I'll tell you guys what you should do now. Go to my Twitter, twitter.com/Richard Hart Win. I've got 52K followers on there. Follow me.
You're a baller.
Thank you. Go to t.me/HEX crypto. That's the HEX Telegram group. You can read the white paper. You can read the layman's guide that explains how the contract works, every function. You know, they can tell you how to set up a wallet, all that good stuff. Hex.win is the website. Sign up to the email list. When I have something cool to demo, I'm going to mail the list. You don't want to miss out signing up. If you don't get in the first day, it's going to hurt. You're not going to make as much, right? Everything is built around getting in early and getting in big. Maximum returns on HEX would be have Bitcoin at snapshot, claim the Bitcoin, dump the Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, put the Ethereum in the adoption amplifier, get more HEX, stake that, and then you got maximum compounding at the lowest share price to get maximum reward when all those unclaimed coins get paid out at week 50. And you can also stagger your stakes. So, you know, you don't have to stake everything at one length. You can make multiple stakes at multiple lengths. And then, you know, if you need a little or whatever, you can deal with smaller amounts. You pay for that privilege because then you'll have a slightly less bigger pays better bonus, but you'll have more flexibility for getting in and out. What else? Don't emergency end stake unless you really know what you're doing. I got a free book. Teaches you how to do everything that basically made me successful. It's called Sci-Vive. It's like how you survive through science, but really it's like here's how you get rich and get laid and hire people and write ads and
the baller handbook.
Pretty much. And there's a second book that came out or is there. And these are outlines need edited and published, but if you just want to get stuff done, they're more than good enough. The second book's called like Fix the World, which is like political and such. So Sci-Vive is stuff that you can change to be awesome. Fix the World is stuff that you can't change, but are systematic, like the education system, the political system, that if they were changed, the world would be better. And some small set of human beings has influence over those that they could change those things. Got a trading channel, t.me/Strape Charts. Got a price predictions channel, t.me/Richard's Calls. Got a general crypto chat, about 6,000 people in there, t.me/Strape. If you want to donate to a charity, you might save your life. Donate to sens.org, SENS. They also accept crypto. And if you want to trade, richardhart.win. If you're on vacation in the States, use a VPN. If you want a half-price VPN, there's a link for it in the calls channel. I think there's a link to it in almost all the channels.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll definitely make sure I get links down for all this stuff, to include down below on my end. Was there anything that you wanted to go over before we wrap this thing up?
Talked about HEX, talked about alts, talked about 8,500. 8,500. That's an 8 with 5 and a 00 at the end. I want to hit 8,500 to fill this gap on the CME, which every single one of them has filled until now.
Except for this one.
I think there might be one above us at 12K too, except for these two. We might have filled the 12K one. I have to look, but
I think we did. But okay. I'm not 100%.
Yeah, we might have. So there's one or two left. One of them's above us, lucky us, unless it's already been filled. Yeah, I want to fill the gap underneath us at 8,500 on CME futures. I want to hit the 40% drop. I want to hit the 50% retracement. I want to hit these things. And then we can go straight to the moon. Okay? Give me 8,500. Then we can go to the moon. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm thinking of selling shirts, I guess. It's like, I'm probably not going to get around to doing it. Like start your own, some dude business. Made a HEX shirt and it looked awesome. And he has one.
Design,
and I don't.
That logo design is really sweet, man.
We put a lot of work into that.
I like it. It's simple. The colors, it's just all together.
Pops.
Looks really good.
Looks great at low resolution. Pops really hard. And the thinking behind it was, all right, HEX, hexagon with exponential growth, right? So there's 3 hexagons getting bigger and bigger. And then, we wrote a guide on it. The color scheme is kind of tequila sunrise, which is copied off of a real sunrise. It also looked a lot like Instagram's, but I didn't know that at the time. Instagram's has like 4 colors and there's purple on one of them, so it's not exactly the same. But it's kind of a similar color scheme. Then there's some other aesthetic things like Outrun, Synthwave, Retrowave, and I can't remember the other one. That are very similar color schemes.
But your marketing itself is, I mean, it's one of your strongest points, I think, is your marketing.
Wait till I start spending money.
The king of marketing, the trillionaire
Yeah, wait,
baller.
yeah, like wait till I write my first check. Like, there's all kinds of. I used to run a marketing company with 150 employees and do print, mostly print. No, I'm sorry, mostly web, lots of print, nearly no radio and television, but some. And I had a team that built creative. I had a team that managed like metrics. I had a team that like did each of these individual things. I would love to do similar things for this. I'm just missing one or two little things, right? And they're very close. And then I can start to do amazing things, because all of crypto marketing so far has been mostly terrible. It's just been horrible. Bad headlines, no unique benefit statements, no limited time offers, like all of the stuff that I would do for any other normal business I've ever been involved in. I've never had the opportunity to do for crypto because I didn't have the profit margin, right? As soon as you give me profit margin where I can make more onboarding, if I can make $50 paying $30 to onboard a new customer, well, then I'm up 20 on each guy, and I can roll that back in and turn up the turbos and amplify it, right? The reason that you don't see any ads for crypto is because no one can be profitable advertising it. So you don't see any ads, right? And if magically somebody is profitable advertising it, is an exchange getting rich on bringing new customers on board what you want in a system that's made to replace middlemen? Do you really want, the people that started Coinbase made more on Bitcoin than Satoshi did? Fact. Well, is that great? Right? I don't think so, right? So more trustlessness, less counterparties, less middlemen, and advertising by having perhaps one holder that has enough profit margin to be able to afford onboarding new users. That'd be great. Like, I can't wait.
I think I actually heard you talking about this, about when you have a decentralized project, you don't have a marketing department per se. So if you
have a bad one, the nerds that bought in, that consist of no women at all. My viewership in my last video had 4% women, which is a 400% increase over normal, which is 1% less, right? So I'm glad some guys switched their profiles to female, or maybe there's some girls watching now. But like, think about the good ads that we have in Bitcoin. We had Magic Internet Money Wizard guy and Bitcoin Billboard guy and HODL. I think that's it. That's all we got. Right. Like, I mean, I've already got Program to Pump and Stake It Till You Make It, and like a bunch of other slogans that are pretty badass.
Stake it till you make it.
Before you even have a demo, like it's, I don't know. I guess no one's ever really done a good job advertising Bitcoin, in my opinion. And I've been there since nearly the beginning. And I've been in all the threads where people talked about what they were going to do, right? And for a bunch of volunteers, they've done pretty good, truthfully. We do have a symbol on the keyboard, like not a UTC symbol, but some other 3-letter, an ISO symbol. So we do have like an icon that you can use textually to represent Bitcoin. That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it's been added now to the iOS, their emoji system. Mm-hmm. It's in, what is that program? One of the Windows programs, Excel. It's in Excel now too. So I mean, yeah.
But think about it. Like, when do we get a new cool thing, right? I mean, that ISO thing came out 2012, maybe. I mean, they were talking about it 2011, I think, but like you didn't actually get it rolled in until maybe 2012, 2013. Look, I like Bitcoin. I still shill it. I still tell everyone the price is going up. I still want everyone to buy the dip. That's fabulous. I can't wait to do some other things I could never do for Bitcoin, but I can do for HEX. It's cool. It's going to be really fun.
Well, I definitely encourage people to check out, what you're doing, and because there's a lot to this project. So, I mean, like even this didn't cover what all of it is about. I mean,
I got to get better at. I think I actually have to have a checklist now. I used to have this stuff down pat when I was like actually regularly doing streams on it. Yeah, I mean, all you need to know. So I actually have a paragraph summary that tells you everything that the project does. I should paste it. I'm good at condensing information down to like bite-sized samples. World's first blockchain CD pays holders instead of miners. Free tokens. Hex.win. Hard to fuck
Stake
up.
it till you make it.
Yeah. And we'll have video
Cool.
guides for everything once I have the tools to make them, right? So once I have a completely working demo to show you, then I will show you how to claim from every wallet, and I'll make more videos than you ever wanted to see, and life will be a lot easier.
Cool. And yeah, once you get this thing launched, I'd like to definitely do a little follow up with you.
All right. It was good
So
talking to you, man.
I do appreciate your time. I just want to encourage everybody who's checking this out on your channel to definitely check out my YouTube channel at Rice Crypto. Got all kinds of crazy ass interviews with people like John McAfee, Adam Kokesh, Lynette Zhang, Tron Black from Ravencoin. So going to be interviewing Fluffy Pony on Thursday, Amir Razik from Black Geeks on Wednesday. So I try to cover some good individuals and influential people in the space that I think are definitely doing good things for the community. So definitely
I'll put links to your stuff down at the bottom. Do you have a URL or anything?
Yeah, I'll send it to you in Telegram.
All right.
And but I do have the channel at Rice Crypto. You can search one word or two words, RICE Crypto. But yeah, I'll send you all the links, and I appreciate it, man. I wasn't originally intending us to do this live stream, but it's really cool. Because
it's free traffic, man. I mean, my audience. If we're gonna do a stream for you anyway, we might as well show my audience. You know.
I feel honored to be on your channel, man. So I appreciate that.
Pleasure, bro. It's good talking to you, man. Thank you.
Much love, dude. Thank you.
What's going on, FUD Nation, and welcome back. Happy Monday.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be bringing an ending to that live broadcast. I do really honestly appreciate you tuning in. This was a long interview. If you didn't get to catch it on the original go-around on Richard Hart's channel, here's your opportunity here too. So if this is your first time ever checking out any of my content, I do encourage you to explore my channel. And if you like what I'm doing, you can support me by liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing, and all that good stuff. So as always, I encourage everybody to be the change by practicing change. And I love you all.